Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, your Agent of Awesome X7, your humble Agent of Awesome X7, the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today, we are going to be looking at the final Starman movie, which is made out of the final three Supergiant movies, which we'll go into in a bit. It is probably the wildest one, the evil brain, yes, from outer space. His brain is trying to take over the world, but he does not have the help of another assistant. Well, he does, but it's nobody named Pinky. So let's just get right on into this. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, ring the bell on YouTube to get notified of a new video every day. We'd really appreciate it. Grab yourself a big old stack of no stack of wheat cakes. We're trying to be healthy here. Get yourself a big old bowl of hummus of perfection and your favorite delivery system, and let's go. So today, the movie came from the Something Weird. Does anybody remember this logo there on all their videotapes? Something Weird DVD release of Evil Brain from Outer Space. Now you can download it, watch it on YouTube. It's everywhere. It's public domain. You'd think that no one would have a problem with this, but I have learned how to fix things on YouTube now, if need be. So let's listen to just a bit of, well, let's listen to the narration here, and that'll tell you everything you need to know about the beginning of this movie here. So these are the credits. It's the music you're hearing. It better be public domain. The music's not even from the movie, the original one. And Shin Toho, we've gone over all this. This is the final movie that they dubbed, and they compacted three 45 to 50 45 57 and 45 minutes to almost an hour movies into one 78-minute movie.
On the planet Seamar, far within the moving galaxy, a decontrolled robot assassinated the omnipotent Balazar, who is known to possess the most brilliant mind in the universe. So powerful was Balazar's genius that as he lay dying, his brain ordered built a mechanism which would keep it alive even though his body was destroyed. And now Balazar's brain seeks universal conquest.
See, universal conquest. So, of course, the Emerald, the Starmen from the rulers of the Emerald Planet, decide they need to send the creature made of the strongest steel with his globe meter. They send Starman to Earth to stop this because, of course, everyone goes to Earth. Now, this movie is a bit of a mess. The narration has to do a lot of work during it. The brain is in this box here that this guy's running away from somebody. Ends up in the water, and they arrest him. So, I mean, really, it's a fun movie, and it's got that mutant in it that we'll see, as you saw in the picture, which is really the drawing point. It's action-packed. There's fights. Starman. There's our first villain with his some kind of bird. I think it's supposed to be a raven, but we're not told. If you want to know more about this movie, you can look it up. You can watch it yourself, really. I mean, it's that easy, but it's fun. Although I would have loved it as a kid because it has a lot of Starman in it, fighting, the mutant, and he just shows up and throws the bad guys around. And this is in a forest. He's friends with children. So, obviously he would have liked me because we'd be cool like that. And there he is looking very dapper in his 1940s private detective gear, private investigator, pardon me. He looks very dapper, I must say. And there we go. So apparently the guy isn't really in a wheelchair, but... And now we get to the first scene of the mutant, dun dun dun, who's got deadly claws and possibly atomic breath or something, because you see poisonous breath. But I think this is a pretty darn good suit for 1959. This movie was made up of three parts, and this first part is the only one that was filmed in the Academy ratio. The other two were filmed widescreen, So they pan and scan it, which you'll see more um, some evidence of it. The last one was also in color, so it had to be turned to black and white. Go figure. So once again, the narration does the heavy work, but the action really carries the movie. I mean, they fight all over, very much setting the stage for Kamen Rider and the Henshin boom some 10, 11, 12 years later in Japan. You can see a lot of the influence here, especially in those early ones. But they fight all over Japan in the daylight, and you get to see a lot of outdoor shots. The gendarmes show up, gendarmes, the police, the cops, the fuzz, the police. Wouldn't dream of it. And there's some interesting flying shots. I don't know exactly. There's two of them, it looks like, but it's not Starman chasing it. Here's another shot. I just like these time capsule shots of downtown Tokyo, probably downtown Tokyo. And the kids are jibber jabbering. There's some scratches in the movie. So Starman shows up in his civilian human guise and beats up a bunch of people, saves the kids. They're all happy, very dapper. And here's our villain. This is now we're moving into the second movie here. We get new villains or some other villains that are under the influence of Balazar. I think it's Balazar, at least in the U.S. dub. Right? Medallion. You know all this stuff. We've gone over it before. Balazar, an evil genius from the planet Zemar. So he's kind of wants to be kind of a Dalek too, but predates them. I like the costumes of the villains. These guys are about to inoculate kids with some kind of drug, and Starman just knows when to show up. I do think the costume, his costume could have had a little more color in it, darker stuff to differentiate himself from the villains, because a lot of times they wear white and it's hard to tell. Nosy little kid finds secret a secret passage, because who can resist that? And this is what he sees. So here the villains have a black costume, which is pretty cool, and it's easy to see Superman, very much based on George Reeves' Superman, except a lot more violent, so more fun. And I love the George Reeves Superman. Don't get me wrong. At least the first season in black and white is really good. So he beats up them, and then here's just the shot of a plane, Japan Airlines. Starman's dressed as some kind of Middle Eastern prince or something. But now here's where you get the problem. They do have black pants, but the white shirts, they blend in too much. So I'm assuming that with a really fine print, I know they've been released on DVD in Japan, but this is as good as Starman's going to get. So you have to just take that for what it's worth. Just beats them all up. I'm looking at the cotton candy. I've never cared much for cotton candy because it's just solid sugar. But at this fair, the witch shows up. So we're still in this might be episode 3 or the third one. They were called, let me hear. The Space Mutant appears. There's our Space Mutant. The Devil's Incarnation and Kingdom of the Poison Moth. It's really hard to tell which is which except for where the Space Mutant is. She can appear and disappear, and I think her touch kills people. I don't know why I chose this. The house was cool. Here's our villain, English Earthling villain. Has a decent, silhouette shot, but there he is flying. He flew unlike Superman. His arms are outspread like a plane, which gives him a bit of a different. You can almost see the wire that's holding him there, and I suppose in a clearer print you probably would. Let's go. There you go. The fight scene. Starman just shows up, and again, the white it's hard to tell. So I think just a little contrast would help. But they weren't going to change Starman's outfit, but they should have changed these guys. Even put some tubing on there or some piping for the. But he's beating up scientists here. He doesn't care, and maybe he's not an Earthling. And this guy, see, here's the pan and scan, because this guy's cut off completely, so you can't see him in the same frame. But the fight, look, they do it well enough, the pan and scan, that you don't lose the action's all there, except for with the witch because she breathes fire and you don't see it. You just see the flame shoot across there because it's almost just set in the center. But she's got her tiger claws out, Fujao, and the police arrive again, and I don't know if they take him into custody or they kill everybody since they're traitors. Starman wallops the witch once, and she blows up real good. That's what happens to the bad guys. And now they've got another problem. The brain has escaped; it dematerialized and appeared somewhere else. And there's the mutant is back. So we've circled all the way back to the first movie because the mutant's there, which is pretty cool. It's a good fight scene. I don't know how this thing eats or what it lives on because it can't open its mouth to eat anything with those fangs in the way. Um, there they are. They've shown up and more fight scene. I guess he's destroyed the mutant. Nope, there it is back again. Look at their little symbol there. It's kind of cool. Lots of reverse effects. So once again, I mean, you can see where they were going to end up now. Ken Utsui, Starman, does a lot of his own stunts, probably most of them, and is vigorous enough and looks believable as Starman, as a superhero, just beating the crap out of people. When he beats the mutant, it dissolves into a mucky goo, and then they use acid and destroy Balazar. And that is the end of the movie. Goes by in a hurry, doesn't it? Yeah, 12 minutes. I can talk about it. It's real. I mean, there's a lot of fighting, so there's no reason to go over all the fighting, right? Once again, the kids are happy, and again, you can see the beginnings of Japanese superhero that would show up on television. They're very similar to this at first, and then once the Japan Action Club, Shinichi Chiba's group shows up, that action gets way better and way more intricate. So there he says goodbye, and it's the last time we see Starman. He's never returned, really, which is a little unusual. They bring back every hero. Moonlight Mask has been brought back several times, but never Supergiant. So there's our review today. It was really, I mean, for 3 movies crammed into one, 150 minutes. We lost half of them, and I don't know what else they would have done because these movies were just for 90-minute slots, and I'm sure that Manly Enterprises knew they were for 90-minute slots. So go figure. I just quite enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy all the Starman movies. It's probably my second favorite. Atomic Rulers would be my first, followed by this one, then the Salamander Men, finally the third one, the Invaders from Space or whatever it was. So, but you can watch all of them. They're just 70 minutes goes by in a hurry, and if you don't have the sound, if you don't pay attention, you're a couple of minutes away from a fight scene. All right, my fellow agents. Until our next assignment, hope that the Emerald Men don't need to send Starman back to us. So, this is X7 signing off. Until our next assignment.